Hello, it's time for Flashback, the weekly history quiz. Let's find out what's happened in history. In 718, the British Parliament lets judges punish criminals by deporting them to a distant land, America. Against that, we're placing the Bering Land Bridge, which helps caribou, wolves, bison, and people cross between Asia and North America, which is submerged by rising oceans. Well, that's obviously well before 1718, the millennia before that, in fact. Yes, 9000 BCE. I do find it fascinating to imagine what it must have been like when those land bridges finally were submerged, because people were there. I mean, similarly with the area that's now called the Doggerland, and that would have connected the island of Great Britain to mainland Europe. That, within human lifetimes, that eventually just went away. It must have been very strange for them. Anyway, Lynn Cox swims for 2 hours across part of the Bering Strait. She's the first person to swim from the U.S. to the USSR, easing Cold War tension. Well, that's obviously the 20th century, so we can put that here. 1987, right, okay, that's later than I would have guessed. The Belgian musician Adolphe Sax combines woodwind and brass sounds into a new instrument, naturally called the saxophone. I've always liked that it's just his name. Anyway, that's the 19th century, I'm fairly certain. Yes, 1846, right in the middle of the 19th century. Martin Luther King Jr. gives his first major public speech in front of thousands in Montgomery, Alabama. Many say they feel their fear melt away. I assume that would be the 1950s. Yes, 1955. Sten Gustav Thulin patents the plastic shopping bag. He hopes they'll be used repeatedly, helping the planet by replacing paper bags. Well, it's a nice thought that he had. Okay, this is the first one where I'm actually really not sure. I'm before or after 1955? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel as though I sort of have to guess. Plastic bags. That feels like a more modern thing to me, but it can't be that. I mean, it can't be that new. I'm thinking maybe, I'm going to say after 1955, but I'm not really sure about this. Yes, 1965. Okay, interesting. Workers build the Great Sphinx in Egypt. They leave the larger complex unfinished for unclear reasons, even leaving behind the remnants of a lunch. That's amazing that we can know that, that we can determine that from archaeological evidence. Anyway, it's obviously more recent than 9000 BCE, but it's still thousands of years ago. Yes, 2500 BCE. Okay. In the Mediterranean, diamond rings are first mentioned in writing. The gems from India are uncut and unpolished, since no one knows how to do that yet. Yeah, fair enough. Diamond, a famously hard surface. I don't really know when this is, but we have a pretty wide gap here between 2500 BCE and 1718, and I'm sure it's going to be in there somewhere. It'll be, I don't know where, but it'll probably be roughly in the middle, I would think. Yes, actually it is. Circa 100, okay. That's maybe even earlier than I would have guessed. Cuneiform, one of the first writing systems, is created. It's often used not by poets or clerics, but by the really important people, accountants. Right, yeah, so they used this in ancient societies like Babylon to just sort of keep track of things. I was learning about Babylon recently. It's incredibly, incredibly fascinating. My question, is it before or after? I think it's probably before 2500 BCE. I'm not 100% certain about this, but I think that is probably the case. Let's see. It was good. Okay, yeah, not enormously before, but there we go. Okay, good. Well, I got them all right this week. That's nice. And let's see what tripped people up. So just about everybody correctly placed the Bering Land Bridge. That's not a big surprise. Look at that. More than a third of people misplaced cuneiform. I can understand that. Maybe probably put it more recent, maybe than the Sphinx, I guess, perhaps. Nearly everybody correctly placed the Great Sphinx. But a tenth of people misplaced diamond rings. I mean, that's something, to be honest, I've never really thought. It never really occurred to me when diamond rings would first have been mentioned. But, yeah. Let's see. About a fifth of people misplaced the saxophone. Maybe, I don't know, actually. I'm trying to imagine, would most of those people have thought it was older or newer than that? I don't actually know. I guess it sort of feels like a more modern instrument than a lot of orchestral instruments, and it is, but yeah. Okay, just about everybody correctly placed Martin Luther King's first speech. About a third of people misplaced plastic bags. I can understand that. That one was my probably least confident guess of all of them. And yeah, just about everybody, unsurprisingly, correctly placed Lynn Cox in her swim across the Bering Strait. Okay, well, there we go. Those were some bits of history. That was Flashback. Be back next week with more of this. Bye for now.